Good morning, everybody. I'm Carl Wolfgang Schultz, owner of WOLVOFFICIAL.com, and I'm going to be teaching you how to become a DJ. So, a little bit about myself. I was born in Las Vegas, Nevada. I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada for the most part, and I've had a pretty interesting life. I can honestly say that I was deployed, I was in other countries that didn't speak the same language as me. I've been to school, and I've had a dream. I've always had a dream that one day I would become the best musician ever. And it took me a long time to figure out that it's not going to be easy, right? Go figure. And so what I aimed to do was not give up. I knew that I wasn't going to quit, and that my passion would persevere, and that I would eventually become a success. So what I'm going to teach you is not traditional by any means. A lot of people aren't going to be right there with you, explaining, showing you, and educating you on how to become a DJ. I've had quite a story. When I was younger, probably about 15 years old, I really wanted to be well known for my music. And at the time, I wasn't very patient, and I wasn't sure where to go. Do I need to get signed to a record label? And then I realized eventually that I can do all this on my own. I don't need anybody, essentially, to make this happen. The reason I don't need anybody to make this happen is because of the internet. The internet now is so powerful. It really is powerful. Like I have no life. I have no life outside of this. And what started with a music passion turned to a really big music passion. I eventually realized all the opportunities that are out there. I realized that I can build my own record label. I can build my own production company. I can pretty much do it all. When I was little, I realized a lot of things early on. I realized that I didn't know everything. I realized that it's going to take a lot of work to get to where I want to go. So I watched a lot of videos of people doing their thing, like music videos. I watched a lot of those. I got inspired off music videos quite a lot, and that eventually led to dancing. A lot of my dancing was pretty spectacular. Like I did a lot of really interesting dance music dancing. A little bit more about me. When I was, probably 17 years old, I got into the rave scene. And what eventually happened in the rave scene, I went to my first rave in California. And when I got there, I was just impacted by these people that couldn't wait to get inside a rave. And I was still unsure of what a rave was, and now I know what it is, but when I was there, everyone was just so happy and so friendly, and that's the very first vibe that I ever got from these raves. And before, I'm standing in line, and I'm with my friends, who I'm still friends with today, and it seems like that was the start of everything. I mean, there was other things like relationships that I was going through, and that I didn't, I wanted the relationship to work, but it didn't work, and there was no way of getting that back. It's like wanting something that you can't have, And so I was pretty hurt by that, and that led to me getting my first guitar. My first guitar eventually led to getting better at the guitar, acoustic guitar, by the way, and I just played that guitar like crazy. and I never really got extremely well at it, but I got good enough to where I figured out a formula. Now, it's not a huge secret, but I think I discount myself a little bit too much, because what I do with when I pick up the guitar is I look for 4 chords. That's it. I look for 4 chords, and within those 4 chords, you can interchange them all you want, and they will produce a song, because that's ultimately what I wanted to do. I wanted to produce a song, and I just thought it was so cool that I could make my own song. You know what I mean? And eventually, I got really good at making songs. I mean, in my opinion, they were outstanding. They were really, really good. And I just kept working at it, and I eventually am here now, and I've produced, gosh, I don't know, I want to say 500 songs. I've produced a lot of songs. And some of them are mastered, and then some of them aren't mastered. So let me jump back to the rave. Because after that relationship that I had that didn't work, and I got the guitar, and I wanted to be able to perform in front of people, like let them know what my struggle is and my story. That's kind of ultimately where it all started, was how I felt with that guitar. Before that, there was a lot of me gazing up at the stars. Like, I was always, when I grew up, I had some family trips that I've taken, and on those family trips, I mean, obviously I was the passenger, I didn't have to drive or anything, but I would constantly look up at the stars, and as I looked up to the stars, I always wondered, like, who am I, right? And then I got to self-discovery, and then ever since then, I've just been working really hard on figuring out, like, what life is, and do I want to fall for, what society tells me I need to do, or do I need to become something that I'm not? And that ultimately led to my success as well. And so, growing up wasn't easy for me. It was really difficult. And looking up at the stars was a way for me to have a purpose in life. It was something, I felt like it was like an out-of-body experience. Looking up the stars, it felt like there's something bigger out there. There has to be, there's got to be something bigger. And it's not religious or anything. It's just me looking deep inside myself and asking some questions. Who do I want to become? Am I willing to work hard for that? And eventually, am I willing to change as a person? So that was a big thing. Me always looking up at the stars and always dancing at these parties that, growing up, not really big parties, but they were really comforting, warm parties. Like, I was always known for the guy who, was dancing and stuff like that at these parties. And eventually it kind of had like a snowball effect. I was always getting invited to parties, and it's not like I got paid for any of that stuff by any means, but it was something that I felt I needed to do. I felt I needed to dance, like, just really, like, because when I was at these parties, people were drinking and they were, having fun and stuff like that, but it was like, I felt like there was like an elephant in the room where nobody really wanted to dance, and I couldn't figure out why nobody wanted to dance. So after a little bit of discovery, and I figured out, like, what, I'm going to set the example. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dance. I don't care what any of you think of me, I'm going to dance. And that was me going to these different parties and breakdancing. And keep in mind, I was never that great at breakdancing. I just got better and better through my own hard work ethic. And so the more that I went to these parties and just kind of put myself out there, breakdancing and stuff like that, the better I got at figuring life out. There was a famous singer, oh man, I don't want to butcher this, but she basically said that when you come to the end of your life, you gotta wonder, Like, did you dance? Did you sing? Did you dance? Like, that's who I am. I want to be, until my very last breath, I want to sing, I want to dance, I want to create stuff. I want to teach you everything that I know, because I'm always learning myself, and the more that I learn, the more I realize I don't know. But the thing is with me is I learn so incredibly fast. I learn really, really fast. Like, technology is a big help, because I'm able to access videos like YouTube, and I'm just able to do so much more research. Some market research, and Google is a blessing. Thank you so much. You know, like, thank you so much for that. And just the way things are going, and and I always started off learning the internet at a pretty early age, about 15, 16. I was on the Google and stuff like that, and computers. I was always playing games, but I got out of the video games, and I started getting into research. I think that's who I am. I really researched a lot. So, when I was at that rave, okay, now that you know that I have like a little bit of guitar in me, and these music videos were making me want to dance a lot, right? Well, when I got to the rave, I knew that when I walked in the door, as soon as they opened up that door, I knew that I was going to dance. I just didn't know what to expect, but I knew that once they opened up that door, I was in there, like boom, boom, boom. I was ready to go, because I've been so used to and accustomed to dancing at these house parties that I knew that it was going to be the day. That was going to be the day. So, while I was standing in line, I was talking to some people, and I realized that this is the night. Like, this is where I was meant to be. Nothing else mattered. School didn't matter. Work didn't matter. Actually, I think I quit my job just to go to that rave. And just family didn't matter. No matter what I was going through, nothing mattered. All that mattered was my friends that I had near me, right? How I felt with my life. I mean, where was I going? Was I confident in where I was going? And I was so confident. I had a basic Mercury Grand Marquis that my father gave me, and I rode that thing till its very end. Rest in peace, White Lightning. And so, when I got to this rave, my first rave ever, I didn't know what to expect. I just knew there was going to be kind of some loud rooms. I heard there was a whole bunch of different rooms, like five rooms at least, of different music. And I didn't know about the different types of music. Like, I just thought that, wow, maybe it's like a rap in here, or maybe there's dance in here, or maybe there's something, in here. I didn't know what the different rooms had. So I'm in line, all right? And then they open up the doors. I run in, and I kid you not, the first thing I did was just start dancing. Like, I felt like that's who I was. Everybody feels like there's something, like they were meant to do this or meant to do that. My problem is I discount myself too much, thinking that everybody is doing the same thing as me, or everybody is thinking the same way I am, and how do I think better than that? Like, that's not how it should be. And I wasted a lot of my time thinking and comparing myself to other people, when I should have just been dancing. I should have just been dancing my own dance and singing my own song, creating my own content and sharing it with you. You see what I mean? Like, that's how life should be. And it's not that I wasn't at the right place at the right time. I was dancing, and I felt great. I felt home. I felt that that's who I was. You know what I mean? And the doors open, I'm dancing and stuff like that, and I just thought it was so interesting. Like, I wanted to learn how to dance so bad, like right then and there. I felt like I was like on another spiritual planet when I was with these people. Like, the community in the rave industry is huge. Like, it's so spiritual. Like not God or anything like that. It was just like unity, and this respect that everybody had for each other. And I couldn't believe how at home I felt. And it's really weird, because I'm now shooting a video 10 years later. 10 years later, right? And it's like, it's crazy to know that I'm here today and like how much I've accomplished because of that day. I didn't have to go to that rave that day. I didn't have to go. But while I was there, I looked around, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm in Wonderland. Like, I gotta go here first, and then I gotta go dance there. And I just felt like that's where I needed to be. And I remember that I wanted to learn how to dance so bad. Like, I was really getting into this dancing thing. Like, and if you look at some of my other videos, you'll see like the dancing that I do. It's a lot. It's really weird. It's really different. I've been running with it, and it's just who I am. But it's getting people to dance. That's what I've been good at, is getting other people to dance by putting myself out there, and people around me are just like, yeah, this is awesome. Like they're having the greatest time of their life. Like they're super stoked. And so I remember this one particular person. I saw this one guy dancing, and he was dancing with his friend or girlfriend. And I walked up to him, and he was doing this crisscross thing with his feet, but he was doing it real fast. See what I mean? And he was just having fun and doing his thing. And I was like, man, how do I do that? I don't remember exactly what I said, but I know that I asked him, how do I do that? And he showed me. And then I got better. And then I got better at it. And as soon as I got it down, whole life changed. I just sought after everybody who could teach me how to dance. And I watched YouTube videos. I got everything. I danced in other countries, and they were teaching me like how to do everything. They were teaching me all this. So what does this have to do with learning how to be a DJ? Well, here I am right now. Never in a million years thought that I would be a DJ. Right? I was at those raves dancing. I was the dancer. I was the dancer dancing. Right? Well, music has always been a part of me. And there's a huge world full of musicians. I'm just a different musician. I'm a unique, positioned, intelligent musician who understands people. I understand community. I understand role model. I understand discipline. I understand sales, marketing. I understand the whole 9 yards. I've been there. I've had my struggles. I've had some really big struggles. I know that some of you have had some big struggles too. And I want you to know that you're not alone. And I'm going to teach you everything I can. Learning how to be a DJ or how to become a DJ is just a sentence. But it's what makes you who you are. You can call yourself whatever you want. Alright? That's why I said I want to blow your mind with these series of videos. Because I'll show you a little timeline of where I was. It started with me looking up at the stars, okay? I will admit, that was probably the very first memory I could think of, was me stargazing, thinking I was going to be something someday. Number 2 was dancing. Dancing just took off for me. Like, I didn't care what people thought. Dancing was me, it's who I was. This is the evolution of me. Number 3 was singing. Once I realized that I can make songs, I eventually got recording software on my, on my computer, my laptop, when they were just starting to come out. And I got this, my very first program called Mixcraft. And I opened it up and I'm just playing around and I'm like, okay. I went as far as putting my guitar into the computer and recording my guitar in there, okay? And then that's when I was like, okay, I can make songs. And I didn't care what people thought. At that time, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I was like, I gotta post this online. Everybody's gotta see it. This is awesome. And it was, I still look back at my songs and I'm like, wow, you gotta start somewhere. So that was recording. Then the next evolution that happened to me was I figured out what instrumentals were. right? Because I wanted to sing, so I figured out what instrumentals were on SoundClick.com, and that seemed to be the marketplace, right? For a long time, SoundClick was the place where I went to go get instrumentals. And while I was on there, I was downloading instrumentals, and then it was a matter of writing lyrics. That's what happened next, is I started writing lyrics. Lyrics became my specialty, because where there's a passion, more passion in the same industry just explodes. So I was good at doing all the dancing, the singing, the recording, and then I got into lyrics. So I had this instrumental, right? And yeah, it saved a lot of time. And then I had this lyric that I put over it, and then I recorded it on Mixcraft. And I just got, I remember I would sit in my room, I'd turn the lights off, and I would sit there and I would just record songs. I had my family, my father in the other room, and I was trying to keep it down because I was still a little insecure about myself. And I was recording these songs, and they were who I was. That's who I was. That's where it all started. These songs that I was making were just awesome. And it's almost as if I was talking over the instrumental, and it was who I was, and that carried away, And I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a collection of songs that I can look back onto as I get older. The older that I get, the more collection of songs I will produce. And I can look back, and now I have albums, right? All these albums for sale. And sometimes you have to go back and look at those songs. This was all part of my plan. I was like, all right, I'm going to have these songs that I can go back to, and I can learn, I can get better and better and better. After a while, you get to the point where you kind of discount yourself. You think look, man, is this compared to somebody else I was doing? Somebody else's song? It's like going back to that time when, I was thinking about comparing myself to other dancers and stuff like that. And it's not what it's about. It's about you creating stuff for other people so they can share and learn. And so that's what I did. I had the instrumental, and then I was writing these lyrics. And I got good at writing lyrics. I got better as time went by. So along the evolution side is I thought about, so I was producing these songs, okay? I'm trying not to skip anything here. I was producing these songs, I was uploading them, I was getting a little bit more views. I never really had a whole lot of views, I'll be honest. But what I was good at was all this research that I've done. I'm figuring this thing out, so that when somebody else goes out there and they try to apply it, maybe they have a little bit more following than me. Eventually, they're going to use some of my stuff, and they're going to explode, right? They're just going to explode. And we'll talk about more of that later on in other sections. So, I did a lot of research, and I figured out all these different websites to put my music on, how to figure out this online stuff. And then one day, I decided that I want to make a business, right? I don't want a franchise. I don't want to max my credit cards out. I don't want to start this stuff. I didn't want to work for anybody because I wanted to do this music full time. I did not want to work for anybody. Remember that. I do not want to work for anybody. And I kept going through that struggle of, I gotta do my music business or whatever, and then I gotta go to school and I gotta work. There was a huge mix-up, and I was like, why can't I just do my music? And I was that much passion that eventually led me to where I am here now. So I said, you know what? I need to make a business. I need to make a business. And after some research and some learnings, I did a lot of network marketing, and I was trying to figure out all these ways that I didn't have to work. So what I eventually did was I said, look, this is what you need to do, Carl. You need to start a website. No startup costs, right? Your monthly expenses are absolutely low. They still are low today. And I've had my website for a couple years now, and they're still really low. I don't even think I'm breaking $100 in monthly expenses yet. So I learned how to build a website. Yeah, easier said than done. That's for sure. We're still talking about the evolution of how I got to where I am now, the whole DJing thing. Okay, and I was on so many different websites trying to figure out, like, how does this work? How do I learn HTML? Because that's the first thing that comes up when people think of websites. So I learned all the HTML, and I was like, okay, this is a lot of jargon. Like, how am I going to figure out how to do this? In the YouTube videos, I spent days upon days upon days in the library researching, figuring out, like, all this stuff. How am I going to be a DJ? How am I going to be successful? And until I came across some certain people in the industry, not music. It was never about music when I was figuring out how to make a website. Like, I went off into a whole nother land when I was learning how to build this website, while still trying to remember that music is what I want to do. You know how hard that was? I had to learn all this other stuff, and I got distracted and lost, while going to school, while working, and I was like, man, I don't know what to do. Like, I just had my head down so many times, I didn't know. I was like, I want to do this music thing, but I don't want to learn all this other stuff. Okay? But that stuff that I learned makes me who I am today. It's what makes me unique. All this research that I've found and figured out. And eventually, after thousands of dollars I spent on learning how to build a website, how to make money in general, how the money stuff works, how the online business works, how you capture leads and turn them into sales, and how do you promote, how do you market. Like, there was just this huge world. While I'm still just like, you know what, I haven't produced a song in I don't know how long. I need to go back there and I need to make a song. So I guess the whole time while I was doing this, it felt like music was this big. That's how big it felt. And I was like, what's going on? So I kept learning. And eventually, going through different content management systems, or otherwise known as website platforms that help you build your website, without learning HTML and all that other stuff. I figured out, like, what's the best platform for me to go on and add content, add photos, add videos. And then I started getting off a little bit further. It wasn't about the music. I was thinking about making websites for all these different niche websites, niche companies, industries. And it was getting to the point where I knew that wasn't who I was. I kept on trying to promote other people's products and stuff like that, and it wasn't my thing. I ended up eventually getting into network marketing, which I don't think was for me. Maybe another company, but the one that I was with, it wasn't really working for me. It's not who I was. I kept getting distracted. Music still felt this small. It needed to be this big, right? I needed to go back to where it all started. So, after learning some basic things about websites and online business, we'll say, I understood search engine optimization on Google. I understood how to get people to come to your site, because that's where you want them. You can put up the site, but who's going to come, right? Just your friends and family, because they're the only ones that know your website. And so I figured out, like, well, if I can get people to come to my website, that's new people getting to know me, like people I've never met before. And that's the way to do it, ultimately, is get people to come to your website, or go on other people's blogs and talk to them, build a conversation. It's like a whole other world, instead of going out there and talking to people at different venues and stuff like that. Well, so I figured out how to do all that, all the website stuff. And the whole time, my music was still this big on as far as like the amount of work that I was doing elsewhere. And what I ended up figuring out how to do was get people to the website. Once I figured that out, I said, you know what, enough is enough. I'm tired of working for other people again, right? I said, my website is going to be about one thing and one thing only: DJing and producing. And I'm going to write as much content as I want everywhere, but it's all going to be on my blog, and it's going to be about what I want. It's going to be words that I want to talk about. And I eventually made my own music. You can think of it as an artist page. I made it an artist page on my website. Right, if you go there to WOLVOFFICIAL.com, you'll see like me dancing me selling these products, me offering these courses and whatnot. And that's eventually where I wanted it to be. Enough building these other websites for other people. Enough promoting other people's products when you don't have time, right? They're going to come to my place and they're going to see who I am. That's what you need to do. You don't want to be going around, there's a difference between working for somebody else and there's a difference between researching other people, okay? I want you to know that. That should be comforting. There's a difference between working for somebody else and researching other people. I want you to remember that. So, you need to have these mentors. These different mentors are going to teach you these different things about various different industries. But ultimately, in a shell, the only thing that you should be thinking about is the difference between online and offline. Okay? You're going to have a whole bunch of online research, and you're going to have a whole bunch of offline research. But don't get the two mixed up. Always have clarity in your life. Always have clarity and purpose. Okay? Don't get lost in the sauce. And as long as your website is you, it's about you, right? And you have all these different parts of your website about you, different pages and stuff like that. Don't let that confuse you. Because that website it says one thing and one thing only. WOLVOFFICIAL.com. That's who I am. That's what I started. That's who I'm going to become. Forever. Until I take my last breath. That's who I'm going to become. Do not get confused. Do not get sidetracked. You need to be confident in yourself and where you're going in life. Okay? You don't give up on yourself when nobody says you're good. Or when you don't say that you're not good. Ever. You do all this other stuff that you gotta do to get to where you want to be. If you have to go to school, right? If you have to go to college, right? If you're in high school and you gotta go to high school, you gotta do this stuff. But when you get home, you're producing stuff. You're writing lyrics. And it may not seem big at the time, but it's the journey that matters. It is the journey that matters. So there I was, building my own website. Finally, I got it to where I wanted it to be. I had a YouTube channel that I was always adding videos and stuff of dancing and little acoustic guitar sessions and stuff like that. And I would add it to my blog, and then it just got more complex. I had to work with the environment. The technology was changing. People were going to the internet a lot more, and I figured out, all right, look, you need to polish your website. You need to make it look professional like some of these other guys. And that's what I did. I said, look, you, Carl, if you're going to go into this, you need to do it right. You know what I mean? Like, you got to do it right. You got to make it look professional. Like, people got to take you kind of seriously. You got to be unique. And I don't ever discount yourself. You are unique. There's stuff that you know that people don't even know. There's stuff I know that you know that I will never know. Right? But I still give you my information. I still teach you as much as I can. So my website, I eventually figured out, all right, look, this website needs to be polished. So I made it presentable. I made it as presentable as possible, right? Clean finish, white. It almost looked like the Apple website. Nice clean finishes everywhere. Not too much spammy or anything like that. And I realized, all right, this mobile industry is getting pretty big, so what I need to do is make my site mobile friendly. So when people go there, they can do, all this stuff. Keep in mind, I wasn't producing instrumentals at the time. I wasn't DJing, and I was constantly still trying to figure out this content thing, this blogging, so to speak. And I eventually made my site mobile friendly. And some of the things that you got to think about when you have a website is, what are you selling? You got to ask yourself, what are you selling? You can put up a website with content and stuff like that, but what are you selling? You need to think about that all the time. Are they money-making activities? Or is it just songs? You know what I mean? Unless your songs are for sale, or do you have people talking on your blog? Blog is the same thing as a website. Think of it like that. What are you selling on your website? What value are you adding to your website? And so when I started building this mobile platform for my website, I was wondering, what am I selling? Because you only have so many touch, thumb pressing buttons that you can press on one screen. And I was like, okay, well, I have an album on iTunes, so I'll sell that album on iTunes. I'll create a link where they can go and they can download it instantly to their phone. How cool is that, right? So that was easy for me. It was residual. If I thought about, automation and stuff like that. And so it was an easy one-touch solution where people could go and they could buy it right there, right? Because more and more people are going to the iPhone or any other mobile platform than they are desktop. But it's weird. It's like still kind of a balance, I've noticed in the analytics. And so the next thing, still thinking about sales, or the products that you're offering. You need to have a bunch of products. I can't say that enough. You need to have a bunch of products that you're offering. Okay? And, alright, I was like, okay, here, I'm trying not to get too confused. Not trying to confuse you too much. But jumping ahead a little bit, I eventually produced instrumentals. So that was another product that I offered on there. So I had the sales of iTunes music, and I had instrumentals that I produced that I could sell. And I was like, alright, what else can I sell that's going to be a one-click download for people? Okay? It's thinking intangible products for the time being. Once I get a little bit bigger, I'll start thinking about, getting books, not ebooks, but actual physical books shipped to people's houses. Audio programs physically shipped to people's houses where I can teach. Do you kind of see where I'm going with this? I hope so. Alright? So I was like, alright, I need to create these products. I need to create a library of products for all these different buttons, that people can touch and they can download them instantly, books. And it's basically, what it comes down to, guys, is knowledge. It's all knowledge. It's what you know here is what you can sell. I don't know if you ever thought about that before. I'm willing to think that you're like, alright, Carl, I'll have stuff that I can really talk about, what can I sell? You just need to put them in product forms. Your basic book, your basic audio program, your basic videos. You can sell videos and stuff like that. Yeah, you can sell videos. You can create e-courses like I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? So you can sell all these stuff that people can download right there. They can download right there, and you don't got to do anything. The idea behind me is that you create a product one time. You give your heart and soul into that product one time. You don't go back, you don't edit it later on. You do it right the first time. Alright? You do it right from the first time. That's something that I learned in the Marine Corps. For those of you that don't know, I'm a former Marine. I got out as a corporal, and I've been everywhere. I've been deployed a couple times, and I've learned from the best. I have a hard work ethic. I've made I made a lot of money in the Marine Corps. I saved a lot of money, and then I spent it right back on the music. So that's a little bit further on, but so you know, I am a former Marine, and one of the things that we learned is we do things right the first time. We don't go back, and we don't redo stuff. We do it right the first time. And that goes for your music. That goes for your instrumentals. That goes for your e-courses. That goes for your books. That goes for your public speaking. You do it right the first time, and then you put it up for sale. And you never look back. Ever. You do not look back. You focus on the next thing that you gotta do. Right? You always have these projects. You don't work on that next project till you get that one project done. Yesterday I just finished another ebook. Right? And I put it up for sale. Waiting for it to come back. But what I did was I finished that product. Now today, I work on the e-course. I finish that e-course and I do it to the best of my ability. Right? After I'm done with the e-course, after I'm finished with the e-course, I'm going to finish my music album. Or I'm going to finish my song. Right? I'm going to finish it that day because I don't know if I'm going to live tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I'm going to make sure that I get something done big, something large done, like a product. I always want to have to get these products and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not focusing just on songs. I'm focusing on putting that song on the internet and selling it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm focusing, and then as soon as I finish that song, you know, and it's up for sale or whatever, then I go around these different, I go on Google, for example, and I look up different ways to market my music. I look at all these different authors and all these different speakers, and even people that I've learned from like building websites and stuff like that. They actually help me with my music because remember, it's the online and then you have the offline stuff that you do. So don't get confused. Online, just keep working at it. Just keep learn like everything you can about the online stuff, right? Learn everything you can. And let's talk about offline right now, okay? What you need to know about offline business is where it all started. It's where it all started. Remember when I was talking about me going in and getting that acoustic guitar? Prime example. You have stuff you're doing. Like right now I'm learning how to play the violin. Just recently I was like, alright, I want to learn how to play the piano. So I learned how to play the piano, and now it helps me with my instrumentals that I produce. You know, all those different products. So you have your online products like that are like instant downloads, right? That you don't have to sustain. You don't have to wait for an order to come in and then work on it, right? You put up the product and you have them come to it and they download it. You don't go and you don't, let's see here. So online is instant download. Offlining is like stuff that you're doing to create the product, right? Online is all that research that you're doing, not creating the product necessarily, but it's like research, all right? Just think of online as like research, and then you're going to put up your product and stuff like that. Then your offline stuff, you can still do research offline, right? But a lot of my offline stuff that I'm doing is producing instrumentals, right? I'm writing those lyrics. I am talking to other people. I'm attending events. I'm dancing at parties. I'm going to venues. I'm performing my songs. I'm reading books, physical books, because I like reading physical books. I am I'm working on me. I'm exercising. I am networking. I am writing my next book, right? I am I'm going to school. That's a whole other thing. We'll talk about that here in just a sec. I'm going to school and I'm looking for a job. I am I'm making sure that my life is in order, you know, making sure that my friends are doing good. I go and I visit friends that I haven't seen in a while, and I'm making sure that everything is in good shape. All right. So the next thing that I want to talk about is school. For the longest time, I was against school. I was always doing good in school, but I was like, you know what? I think there's a way to make it without school. And now I know there's a way to make it without school. But at the time, it was a little hard for me because I didn't know. I didn't know as much as I know now. It was really hard for me growing up. Growing up in high school was different. It wasn't easy. I always wrestled. I was on the wrestling team, and I did a lot of, you know, I won a lot of championship matches and stuff like that. And I wrestled my whole life. You know, that's kind of gave me another kick in the rear, you know, as far as getting things done and stuff like that, in addition to the Marine Corps. But when I was going to school, once again, it had nothing to do with music. And I was like, why? You know, it had nothing to do with music. So I got a scholarship to college for my academics. And while my first year of college was going to be the year that, you know, most people go to college right after high school, well, I went to, you know, my classes and stuff like that. I did really good my first year. But then the second year, I was like, something isn't right. You know, I'm working and I'm going to school, and then finances got ridiculously, they got out of control as far as like student loans and stuff like that. And then I just got a little bit lost. It was really hard. And I understand for some of you guys that are going and getting out of high school and you know, going straight to college, and you're told to go to college. Maybe you don't want to go to college, or maybe you kind of want to go to college, and it's just really tough. I know, I've been there. It's crazy. Believe it or not, you're never going to guess where I am right now. I'm going to school. But it was hard because there was two parts in my life. You know, one was go to school, the other was, you know, why are you going to school? But I'm here to tell you that you should go to school. It's one more thing to add to your arsenal. Alright? I am blessed to not have to pay for school because of the military, right? I was like, I gotta figure out how to pay for this stuff. So I joined the military and they ended up paying for it. Okay? But keep in mind that I wasn't digging school whatsoever. You know what I mean? I was living at home, and I didn't know like what my life was gonna be a whole. I just knew that I was really wanting this music so bad, and I got figured a way. You know, I got to stay 4 years in the Marine Corps. I got to figure out, you know, I got to take a little bit of school while I was going in the Marine Corps, and I got some classes knocked out. And then what I eventually did after the Marine Corps was I went back and I got right back into school. School was what I needed to do. School, because even though I had the Marine Corps, it was like, okay, you have the Marine Corps under your belt, but what else is going to get you ahead in life? You know, it's like a real deep question. What else is going to get you ahead in life? And I was like, you know what? I got to go to school. They're going to pay for it. So I got into the dorms as soon as I got done with the Marine Corps, and I was like, all right, if you're going to do this, you need to do it right. Just devote all your attention to school. You know, it's kind of like similar to me going off and learning how to build a website. Nothing to do with music, right? So I figured out all that online world, and I eventually mastered it. You know, and now I think I mastered school. You know, last semester I got a 3.4 GPA, somewhere right in there. You know, it was above a 3.0. But that's the best I ever did. That was the best that I ever did in college, was after I got out of the military. You know, when they were paying for it. Not saying that you should go to the military by any means. You don't have to. You know, it helped a lot, you know, because I was able, like, I don't have to work, you know, and they paid for me to go to school, and they actually pay for my living expenses and stuff like that too. And so that helps out a lot. And I was able to pull, you know, 1A, 4Bs in class. So that was awesome. And now I'm on my second semester, and I'm ready to do well again this next semester. You know, it's just going to get a little bit harder. I got about a year left of college, and I'll have my bachelor's in marketing.